This week, I want to talk about feelings. Feelings are so fascinating to me because all of us experience them. Every single human experiences them, but nobody's taught what they are, what to do about them, how to deal with them. And so we all have a bunch of coping mechanisms that aren't particularly helpful. I'd love to not spend hours and hours doom scrolling to try to deal with our feelings. And so today I want to give you more insight into your feelings and what they are and what to do about them so that you feel a lot more empowered, a lot more clear, a lot more light, and a lot more able to focus during your day. Hi, I'm Amber Dybert. I'm a performance coach for enterprise and strategic sellers, and feelings come up for every single one of my clients. Nobody is immune to feelings. Feelings are a mammalian experience. It's not just humans that experience feelings. It's dogs. It's, I don't know, whales. Do they experience feelings? They probably do. Like every mammal experiences feelings. And it's not something that is a dysfunctional part of you. It's something that is a built-in feature. Feelings can be useful, but they can also lead us astray. So let's talk about feelings. First of all, I want to point out something really fascinating. Everything that we do or everything that we avoid doing is because of a feeling that we want or a feeling that we don't want. And it can go either which direction. We might do something because we don't want to feel a particular feeling or avoid doing something because we do want to feel a particular feeling. It's really, really fascinating to look at your life and think about everything that you want, everything that you're chasing, everything that you're avoiding, and ask yourself, what is the feeling behind this? How do I think I will feel if I achieve that? How do I think I will feel if I avoid doing that thing? What feelings am I avoiding and what feelings am I chasing? Just having insight into what's driving you is really, really fascinating. Point number 2, what is a feeling anyway? A feeling is a physical sensation. It feels like this very nebulous thing. For me, feelings feel like something that takes over. I don't know how long they're going to be here. I don't know how long they're going to last. They feel very overwhelming. And so instead, as a kid, I learned to just shove them down. I think about how I've just kind of disconnected my head from the rest of my body so that I don't have to feel anything that's going on in there. But when you break it down and you remind yourself that a feeling is a physical sensation, that's it, then feelings become actually a lot less nebulous and a lot less scary because all it is a physical sensation. So what's really fascinating to me is there are so many times when we resist doing something or we avoid doing something because we're afraid that the outcome might not pan out well. So for example, you might avoid asking for a raise because you're worried that your boss is going to say no. And we always kind of think of like that being the worst case scenario. I'm going to ask for a raise. My boss is going to say no. And like that would be horrible. But actually the worst case scenario is one step further than that. The worst case scenario is that you ask for a raise, your boss says no, and then you feel something. You feel embarrassed or humiliated or ashamed or disappointed or whatever it is. So the worst case scenario actually is a feeling. And we're avoiding so many things and avoiding taking so much action because we're so worried about the feelings that we're going to feel. It's really fascinating when you narrow it down to that because then you can notice, okay, I'm not taking this action because I don't want to feel a feeling. And a feeling is a physical sensation in my body. So let's take the example of asking for a raise. Let's imagine that if you did ask for a raise, you could get another $30,000. What if I told you, all you have to do is feel a Charlie horse and you'll get $30,000? You'd be like, done. Sounds amazing. Sign me up. No big deal. But that's essentially kind of what we're doing. We're avoiding feeling this physical sensation and avoiding taking the action to get those payouts that would be really helpful for us and taking the action that we want to take. So think about it this way. What happens is your brain is kind of in a black box. Your brain has no access to the outside world except through your 5 senses. So something happens outside of you. It sends a signal to your brain. Your brain has to try to perceive it and understand what's happening. And then your brain either sends out a signal of like fight or flight. This is a disaster. Something's really bad. But what's also fascinating about that is that your brain is wrong a lot of the time. And a lot of times your amygdala is like a smoke alarm going off because there's some toast in the toaster that got burnt. But let's imagine that does happen. Your amygdala fires. It's like something is a threat. It sends a signal to the rest of your body. So what it does is it sends a signal through your nervous system to other parts of your body. It sends a signal to your adrenal glands. We got to get some cortisol going. We need some adrenaline. It sends a signal to your brain. We got to cut off access. No more blood to the higher brain and all the logic. None of that. It sends a signal to your digestive system. We got to shut off digestion because we got to get ready to run. It sends more blood and more nutrients to your thighs so that you can run faster. Your pupils dilate. You think more quickly on your feet. Your whole fight or flight system has been activated. And what you experience as a mammal experiencing this is you feel physical sensations. I just find it so fascinating when you think about feelings this way, because what a feeling is a physical sensation in your body. And there's so many things that we avoid doing or action that we don't take because we don't want to feel that physical sensation. When you boil it down to this, it makes them feel a lot less scary. But then you're probably like me and you're asking the last question of like, well, I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how long I can, like, what if it sucks me down a hole and I get stuck in this emotion and I never get out of it and then I'm dead. That's how it always ends. It's very valid. So studies show that emotions last for about 90 seconds. I feel like I've had some emotions that last longer than 90 seconds. But if you actually allow the emotion and are just present with the physical sensation that you're experiencing, that's about how long an emotion lasts. So you can tell yourself, okay, if I do this thing, the worst case scenario is that I might feel a feeling. And do you know what? I felt lots of feelings. I got lots of experience feeling feelings. And I've never to date actually been stuck in a feeling forever. There might have been feelings that lasted for a long time, maybe even years, but I've never been stuck in a feeling forever. So what do I think about trying out this action? What do I think about taking this risk and trying something that could potentially have a great upside for me and trusting that I can sit with the physical sensation of the feeling afterwards? I've survived it before and I know that I can survive it again. Okay, hopefully this understanding of feelings was helpful for you. I'm going to dive into feelings more in future episodes. But I want to just go on a little soapbox here. I am seeing with a lot of my clients, I work with a lot of men. It's the nature of sales. There's more men than women. So I work with women and men, but the majority of my clients are men. And what I'm seeing, especially for my generation of sellers, is that so many of us, when we grew up, emotions weren't allowed. You weren't allowed to have emotions. Emotions weren't okay. You got punished or ridiculed or cast aside if you had emotions. And so as kids, we learned the survival mechanism of just shove them down. Don't let yourself feel feelings. And for a lot of men, what that meant is the only emotion that's okay is anger. You can feel anger. It's okay to be angry, but nothing else. You can't feel sad. You can't feel embarrassed. You can't feel lonely. Like those are not okay. And so you never learned how to allow those emotions and how to experience those emotions. And now you're a grown adult. You probably have a family. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you don't. And your anger is no longer acceptable. So the only outlet that you had for emotions is no longer okay. And you're being told it's not okay to be angry. You can't yell at people. And you don't know how to feel your other feelings. I just want to say, if this resonates with you, if you're you identify as a man, you've been raised as a man, and you feel like you don't know how to allow emotions, I just want to normalize that. Of course you don't know how to allow emotions. You never were taught how to allow emotions. It was never modeled for you how to allow emotions. It's literally something that you have to learn, and that's okay. And if you're at a point right now where you're listening to this and this resonates, then what I know about you is you're somebody who wants to learn, wants to grow, wants to develop, and that's the first step. You have the awareness of this. The next step is just adding in the knowledge that's missing for you. So to summarize, a feeling is a physical sensation in our body. Everything that we do is because of a feeling that we want to feel or don't want to feel. And it's fascinating to look at what are the feelings that I'm chasing right now. And lastly, feelings actually don't last that long. When you stop resisting and you just allow it and become present with a sensation in your body, they go away relatively quickly. I would love to know your thoughts and comments on this. I would love to know any questions that you have. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can just search Amber Dibert on LinkedIn and you'll find me. And if you want more help with this, I have a digital course that covers everything about feelings, tells you exactly how to process them, what to do with them, how to get them out of your system. you can go find that course over at manageyourmindset.io, and it will teach you everything that you need to know about feelings. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.